Welcome to Pause for Peace, and welcome to the second Sunday of Advent. Two candles burn on our Advent wreath. Perhaps you can see them if you are watching our video cast. They are right next to me. And on last week's episode, I mentioned that the Hillwood Presbyterian Church is celebrating this season of Advent, this season of preparation, of waiting, and of getting ourselves ready, not just for all of the bells and whistles of Christmas, but for this rebirth of love that we actually celebrate and gather around, this great news that comes to us in the message of Christmas, that the divine fuses with human flesh to live among us. And this happens not just in Jesus, this happens in all of us. Jesus is our teacher, our guide, our Lord, our Savior, who reminds us who we really are and how we can live in this world each day. So, welcome to the second week of getting yourself ready to celebrate the rebirth of love and the joyous proclamation that God dwells among us, dwells in flesh. Good to be with you today, and our Pause for Peace today is inspired a little bit by the prophets. In the ancient scriptures of the Judeo-Christian tradition, we hear from those messengers of God who were calling the people to turn and be ready for a new way of being in this world, for sometimes returning to the ways that once had been, the ways that God had showed them how to live in right relationship together with one another and with all the world. And this second Sunday of the season of Advent, we hear from the prophet Malachi, the messenger. Literally, Malachi means messenger from God or messenger of God, who was delivering the word to the people that some things need to turn around, that there is a way in which God transforms us, brings us out of those patterns and behaviors that are destructive to ourselves and to others, and refines us. In fact, Malachi uses this beautiful image of being refined into pure gold. It's no coincidence that Carl Jung, who was raised in part in a family that had been a part of alchemy, this medieval practice of taking base metals and thinking you could heat them up and make them into pure gold. It's no coincidence that Carl Jung took that idea and utilized it as he thought about the spiritual journey, as he thought about the process of maturation in this world. And he talked about the way that we can become our pure gold self, how we can become whole, and how we can even look upon our spiritual journey and see where we are at. He would have us look to our dreams and see where we're at in the transformation process. How are the base metals of our life, often represented in dark, earthy colors, being heated up, often represented in the fire of transformation, that red flames that sometimes we see those colors in our dreams, so that they would become this pure gold, which might be symbolized either in gold itself or in white. And he would encourage us to think about the transformation, the refinement of who we are and how we are being in this world, becoming our true self in that framework of the alchemist in the refining fires, which the prophet Malachi speaks about. So our pause for peace today is a brief meditation to see where we're at on that journey and what might need to be refined a little bit more in us. Perhaps there is a pattern we have fallen into, or a particular characteristic of our personality that can become destructive. Perhaps there are relationships that we are connecting with that are actually keeping us from being our best self. And Advent is a good time to take stock of that, and to get ourselves ready for the rebirth of love in us might mean that there's some things that need to be chipped away a little bit, refined, as was the language used in the prophet Malachi, refined in the fires of transformation, that all might be, in the language of Malachi, pure righteousness, which is a very churchy word that really just means right relatedness. It means being in right relationship with our true selves, with the divine, with all beings, human beings and others. So we can enter into a little bit of stillness today in this second week of Advent and do some listening for what might need a little refinement in us. So I'm going to invite you to get yourself in a comfortable position. It might be that you are sitting like I am sitting, and you have your feet flat on the ground and you are able to bring awareness to your feet. Perhaps you are laying on a massage table or in a hammock or on a bed somewhere, reclining in a chair, but wherever you are, I'm going to invite you to turn inward right now. We're going to do that through the space of our heart, the spiritual eye of perception. This is how we can sort of dive inward and be able to connect with the divine that lives in us, listening for the great truths we need. And if you will take a deep breath, and just release it. Take another deep breath. And release. No matter what position you're sitting in, if you will, or that your body is in, if you will bring awareness to your feet right now. Perhaps see the energetic tendrils that come forth from the bottom of your feet and connect you deep into the energy of the earth. At least have this sense that you are firm here on the earth and you are held each moment of your journey. Returning to the heart space, the space in the center of our chest. If you will invite the energy of your heart to open. You might even place your hand upon your heart space, and perhaps you might feel some warmth, or perhaps there's some sort of movement happening under your palm. We set this intention. This is our prayer for our heart space to be open, for the spiritual eye of the heart to be able to clearly connect and allow us to know the message we are to know this day. If you're pulled off from this focus at all, just return to your breath and once again enter into the space of your heart. And our question we'll ask on this second Sunday of Advent, this podcast being released to you on December 8th, the second Sunday of Advent 2024. The question we will ask today as we are listening inwardly is, in preparation, what in me needs to be refined? It's easy to point out what you might think needs to be refined in others, maybe in your partner, your spouse, your friends, your family, your siblings, your children. But listening now inwardly, asking that question, truly asking the Spirit of God that is alive in you to reveal to you what in you in this season of preparation, what in you needs to be refined. Some hard edges might need to be chipped away. Some rocky parts of how your life is going might need to be smoothed out. Perhaps a bitterness in your own attitude that needs to be sweetened. So listening now in the quiet, bringing yourself back again and again through your breath, through this focus on the heart space. As you listen and receive from the Spirit of God within, in this season of preparation, what in me needs to be refined. Sometimes in the quiet, we hear a word or a sound. Sometimes as we listen inwardly in the quiet, we see a picture, an image, a vision, maybe a symbol rising. We listen. We're not in this quiet time to be thinking this through, but listening, letting it be revealed to you. What in this season of preparation, what in me needs to be refined? It might even be an understanding of yourself. Perhaps you haven't yet accepted that the Spirit of God lives in you and in all things. And if this truth were to be made manifest in your daily awareness, you may be making very different choices as you go about your day. You may feel a great empowerment or a cherishing or a wholeness that you have not felt before. As we listen in the quiet, we can take another deep breath. Slowly release it. In preparation, in this season, what in me needs to be refined? A response might have been revealed to you immediately. And the question now may be for you, how in the world is that going to take place? So we return to a bit of stillness and we ask once again, like, how can this that needs to be refined in me actually be refined in me? Ask the Spirit of God to show you how. Trust the Spirit of God to work in you, even if you don't know how that's going to be. Allow the Spirit of God, the space in you, to refine you in this season of preparation. Keep listening through the space of your heart. You're not trying to intellectually figure this out. You're listening, receiving whatever message is given, even if it doesn't make any sense right now. Just receive that message now. And before we depart these moments of stillness, if you need more time, I should say, you are welcome to pause this videocast, this podcast, and continue in the stillness. But if you are ready, if you have received what you have needed to receive, I invite us all to show inwardly some form of gratitude, even if it's something we did not want revealed to us of what needs to be refined. Show some form of gratitude for what has been received today. And if we will together inwardly set the intention, make the prayer that the Spirit of God will indeed give all that is needed for that which in us needing refinement to take place. Perhaps that prayer sounds like this for you. Please, 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 God, please, please, please. Let's take one more deep breath. We ready ourselves to return to present awareness. We can do that by wiggling our toes, getting them back grounded in the earth, especially if it feels as if you've levitated a little bit off the earth. Get yourself back grounded on the earth. The energy in your toes. Moving once again. You can shake your body a little bit if you need to. There might be so much that needs to be shook out today. And you can return your hands to your heart space in a prayer pose, so palms together. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes if they have been closed. And I hope that on this second Sunday of Advent, or whenever throughout the week you are listening to this podcast, I hope that you will remember what you have received in the quiet today. I hope you will commit to that refinement, that you will allow God to work on you as needed, so that when we come to the joyous celebration of Christmas, we will be ready for the good news that rings out for all, that God dwells with us forever. Thank you so much for being with me today for Pause for Peace. I look forward to seeing you next time for week 3 of Advent. We're moving closer, closer, closer to the great celebration. Have a blessed week, all. Bye.